Welcome to the All Jammed Up podcast presented to you by Music Never Stopped. Today is Thursday, May 15th, and today's guest we have Jeremy Campbell.
What are you doing, podcast for Lot?
Yeah.
Come be on a Lot podcast.
Yeah, hell yeah, All Jammed Up.
This dude's doing a podcast. If you want to be on some podcast, come do an interview.
Hell yeah.
All
Good morning, fools. Welcome to the All Jammed Up podcast. I'm your host, Clint Dotson. Today is Thursday, May 15th, and it's the eve of widespread panic in Charleston. It'll be my first time seeing them. I'm stoked. Catch me on Lot on Saturday. I'll be doing similar like I did for Billy Strings, a Lot interviews. So come find me, come get a sticker, say what's up, tell a funny story, all the above. I'll be ready. And if your story's good enough, maybe I'll give you a delicious beer brought to you by One World Brewing. Also, Billy Strings tour came out. We were able to lock up our tickets for Huntsville, so see you there. We'll talk about that in Chloe's Corner, though. And then finally, the interview today is with Jeremy Campbell from the band Little Moon Travelers. You may not know who they are. They're kind of a smaller band, but they're playing with big names. Winter Wondergrass, Baja Grass. I listened to them a bit. They're pretty good, too, so check them out. But without any further ado, let's get right into the interview with Mr. Jeremy Campbell from the Little Moon Travelers.
Hey, it's happening! Everybody stay calm!
What's the
Everybody
procedure,
stay calm.
everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm!
Good morning, everybody. This is Jeremy from Little Moon Travelers. How are we doing today, Jeremy?
Cannot complain. Cannot complain.
You guys, you're in Mexico right now, right?
We are in Mexico. Here's a quick little, not a bad view for the old coffee spot.
I would say that's pretty damn good. Definitely beats mine. And I'm in Florida
Not
today,
to rub
so.
it in. There you go. Yeah, no, we're, the spirits are high.
Good to hear. Well, I want to
Sure.
get into, the band and being in Mexico for Baja Grass and all that, but I want to
Sure.
rewind and kind of just start with you.
Yeah.
You're the guitar player for the band. How long have you been playing guitar, and what kind of got you interested in
Sure.
wanting to pick up a guitar?
I've been playing sort of various instruments since I was pretty young. Parents, forced piano upon me and my siblings pretty early, which helped to, sort of plant the seed. But then, I was initially piano, and then I wanted to play the saxophone because that looked novel, and I got into that. And then I eventually wanted to play guitar, and my mom and my dad was like, "You're going to learn to play the first two instruments before we're going to buy a guitar." And so the story goes, my dad was away for, traveling for work, and my mom kind of snuck out and bought me a, just $100, crappy, God knows what it was, guitar. I wish I still had that thing around. But, and that, I kept playing saxophone, but the guitar was definitely the magic for me. And just really got sucked into it. And, you'd hear things on the radio or on, compact disc, and you say, I want to learn how to do that. Just early on, you'd hear that little magic, and you'd say, I want to figure out how to, sort of ride that little piece of magic and go experience that. So that's what drew me to it early on. Yeah.
When you say like that little magic, like what was that little magic to you? Was it a certain song you can remember, a certain band?
It just, every song was like another little piece of, sort of another little piece of magic, right? It was just, you get, even at a young age, you get a little older, and a little that piece of something, the novelty wears off, right? And you get older, and you sort of the magic fades, right? And that I always, for me, found music is sort of a place where sort of unreliably, very reliably, you could go back and find some little piece of the magic still existing. And so, to me, like learning a song, like every song, has its own little creation, its own little piece of magic, and sometimes it's gone, sometimes it's there. And when you hear a song, you hear, I know you guys are dead geeks, but like Althea never gets old. Yeah. But there's also sometimes occasionally you'll hear it, and it won't be, it may not be there as present, but it's sort of whatever your time in that space, in that point in life, we maybe not like ready to sort of go hop on that little piece of magic and write it.
Yeah.
to go deep and sort of mystic for a second, very quickly. But learning the instrument, right? It's a pain in the ass. But having that sort of carrot on the end of the rope, once you really get drawn to something and work hard at it, that you can go figure out how to experience even just a sliver of what the creator of that song, could experience while they were writing it or when they recorded it or whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you mentioned that guitar is a pain in the ass to learn. My birthday was 2 weeks ago. My girlfriend got me an acoustic guitar for my birthday, so I've been trying to, learn chords and stuff like that. What advice do you have, like, for someone just learning the guitar?
Get hooked. I mean, so much of the music we play is just we're going to be playing a really cool old Real-Time Travelers song.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you know me and Martha Scanline. We geek out on the old-time stuff, but we're going to actually close the festival out with this. It's called Hallelujah, not the Leonard Cohen version, but it's a song. It's a tune that Martha Scanline wrote, and it is the simplest song, and it has this beautiful chorus, but you don't. You don't, like, so much of the music we play is nothing, it's cowboy chords. It's, it's simple stuff, and just find a song that, again, just gets you excited because, with my kids, we're kind of, been working on introducing, piano lessons or whatever, but it's just, obviously you got to draw this line between, not everything's going to, it's going to be some hard work, but like you also got to want to do it because growing up, took some guitar lessons with, guys who used to learn some real technical stuff and it just wasn't fun. Again, it's not all going to be fun, but you just find a song. My only recommendation: find a song and learn the shit out of it. And don't just say, all right, like I kind of know the chords in the next song. It's like no, like go just
be
an expert, but also go try to get a little taste of what that magic, why you're drawn to that song. Again, that, Hallelujah song is 3 chords. It is simple as can be, but there's little nuances that make it magic, and there's the feel of it, and there's the dynamics, and there's this. So but mostly just get excited about it because that's what music should be. Is enjoyable. Yeah.
I like that outlook. It's a good outlook, I think. And where did you grow up at?
Yeah, so grew up in St. Louis, Missouri, pretty young, and just a little small town outside of St. Louis, just a wonderful little community. And then when I was like middle school, we moved to Colorado. It's my dad's job, and landed kind of in the suburbs. And I remember just going from this like real sort of awesome little small community to, obviously we were excited to be in Colorado. Oh, you're going to learn to ski, you're going to do this and that. But then it was down in sort of just this very bland suburbs, which for all intents and purposes in the scheme of life on earth is paradise. It was an amazing house. Everything was good. But I remember, just coming to Colorado and having a little bit of a sort of just uprooted into a new place. And that I remember that being a time when, music very much, helped to buoy me through transition, which has buoyed me through many of life's transitions. But it's sort of like when I can see my mental health, sort of on the fritz, it's like, I know I'm probably not playing enough guitar or playing enough music or trying to write enough music. But anyway, there's the long version. But then we moved to Colorado, went to school and up in Fort Collins, Colorado State.
Gotcha, nice.
And so.
And have you been doing music full time as an adult, or were you working odd jobs in between? Like what has that kind of looked like for you?
No, for sure. I've never done it full time. So it's always been just total labor of love. So then I went to school in Fort Collins. I had sort of a jam band there called the Corduroy. It was fun. But then right after school, so then I minored in music there and studied a lot of jazz and big like John Scofield geek, Medeski, my brother, when I was in like middle school or high school. And it was like, here's the funky meters, or here's, galactic, and you're like, what's this magic? What's this sorcery, and so I was real hooked on, funk, sort of fusion jazz. And then in college really is where I really got down to business on learning the guitar. And I'd always played, like high school was a big Kelly Williams geek. So you're just drawn to really good musicians. And you're like, how do I do that? And then in college, had again, sort of a funk or jam band, more sort of a little bit all over the place. But then it was right after school, I moved to, we kind of, that band, we ended, when we all ended college, spent like a few weeks on the road. We just put together a tour just for fun. And it wasn't anything substantial, but played like Wakarusa and summer camp, some of these old, some old, I don't know if that's sort of, generation back of music festivals, but man, it was just a ball, and again, experienced some of that magic.
What kind of music were you guys doing? A lot of covers, or was it originals? What kind of
music? No, it was originals.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, jam band is such a crappy category to throw it in, but it was just our own,
Such a broad term.
No, totally. But yeah, I'd say, funky rock. I don't know. But it was fun. It was an electric band. But then after that, grabbed my guitars from that. We were down in Denver and we put together like a 10-piece funk band, just big horn. We had three 3-piece horn section of like DU graduate students, like insane musicians. We had a female lead singer. I did some singing, and it was so much fun. It was just like this rocket every time we'd go and play a show. But God bless, it was just so much work, herding, a lot of cats, playing bar gigs, and, we had some fun, whatever, opening slots, but, it was fun, and we created an album, and it was like something we're all super proud of, but was not sustainable, and it was, good space to be in early 20s, just, grinding and, loading out from bars at 2 a.m., schlepping a whole PA system and, breaking my back with this like AC30 amp that I thought I needed to exist, and, but a lot of that, kind of then informed later on, where this has come, where the Little Moon Travelers has arrived at, which is, sort of few steps down the line of the story, but it was this grind and this, at the time it was this, we didn't know any better. It was just like, let's just grab every gig and let's just play and play and play, which is amazing for developing your chops and developing, playing on stage and live and whatever. But then this, Little Moon Travelers, where we're at now, is really a bunch of musicians who've done a bunch of gigging before, been in bands, kind of learned our lessons, on very practical terms, but also very, whatever, spiritual, mystic terms too, of like, what do you want out of this? And it's been a phenomenal little exercise and sort of study and, really doing it for its own sake that has surprisingly led to some real quick early wins for the band and just some amazing experiences that we've gotten to do. But for us, it's not like we're, all right, we want to set out to go play this festival or play that or, whatever. It's not like we've ever want to be famous or do anything grand, but it's to us, it's just like we're such nerds for this music that, I think people are drawn to that like it truly is for us. Just like, it's so cliche, but it's about the music. And quite frankly, we're not that we're like some ego people like up there saying, oh, take it or leave it. Like, we're entertainers, so we love doing this. But again, it's let's pause. Let's really think about what we want as a band, and really at the end of the day, it just comes down to a bunch of music nerds loving the craft.
Yeah.
So,
and what kind of would you box Little Moon Travelers in? Like more bluegrass, more Americana folk? Like what kind of?
No,
what do you kind of think
totally, yeah, no, for sure. I appreciate that. It's funny because you're right. Like Bluegrass Festival, like quite frankly, we don't really play a ton of straight ahead bluegrass.
Yeah.
I mean, we
was my
geek on
kind
it.
of- yeah.
No, for sure. I mean, we definitely geek out on like old, Blue Highway, like old, Tony Rice, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, I actually was super fortunate. One of the things that, quite frankly, kind of lit a fire for me was I went to it was like 2.5 years ago or so. I went to, or I was selected to go to Brian Sutton's bluegrass camp out in Brevard, North Carolina. It's this
I
little
saw
tiny.
that. Yeah. Because I live in Nashville.
Oh, sick! Yeah, Brevard. It's
Yeah.
yeah, and it's just like a place. I mean, it was just like a super geek gathering in the best way. It was like adult summer camp
Yeah.
for like nothing but bluegrass nerds. And that was the second year it was done, and Billy Strings was the surprise guest speaker, like with
Can't
Brian
get
that
better.
first night. No, totally right. You're like, and I mean, what a humble dude. I mean, Brian Sutton is like the most insanely humble. And so Critter, and then one of my favorites, which is she is like can hang with all of them technically, but is more in the singer songwriter, which is Courtney Hartman. I don't know if you know her at all, but she is just incredible human being and musician. I mean, she grew up. So Della Mae, I don't know if Della Mae rings a bell, but it was this all-female kind of power bluegrass group. But I connected with her there, and then for about 1.5 years afterwards, did kind of monthly songwriting, sort of lessons with her. She's just she went to school at Berkeley. She was sort of in the same graduating class as Molly Tuttle, and anyway, just sort of this little power group of females that came out around then. I forgot who else, but she's just anyway. Going back to the whole thing, which is why I'm just so drawn to this whole music world, or this particular music world. Now I'll get back to the whole genre of is everyone's just so stinking humble. Like it's not, there's no egos. Like everyone is, I'm sure there are some, but it's like Brian Sutton, who is, by all standards, like the most technically proficient flat picker alive. He's the most normal, approachable person. I got to play, at that event. Got to play Doc Watson's guitar, all this stuff. And it's just, again, it's all just geeks, and it's just a very niche little thing. And, but anyway, so then, sort of, to wind back to like, again, we geek out on, not less bluegrass, but more old time, which is, older stuff, fiddle tunes, a lot of, acoustic, Real Time Travelers were, not, like they're a little more of a modern sort of old time band, but for me a big influence is like Eli West, Cahill Morrison, and Eli West. I don't know if you listen to those guys, but just this sort of realm of music that just is very, it's very well like we'll learn old fiddle tunes, and a lot of this is my banjo player, my fiddle player, and my mandolin player bringing Elzic's like these old fiddle tunes to me and saying, let's play this, let's play that. And, and it forces me to get better, to learn these old tunes. But a lot of these tunes are written 100 years ago, like no joke, and to sit around a campfire picking these old tunes, man, like in a time that, is just such a hot mess, man, it makes you feel good, and it just makes you just like take a deep breath. And so, the music we play, is informed a lot by old time, like bluegrass. But then, growing up in Missouri, can't not be influenced by, more sort of alt country, Jeff Tweedy, Sunvolt very much grew up on. But then, West Texas, you got, Townes Van Zandt, of course, all these classics that, like, to me, I'm, singing wise, a little more, I guess, kind of over in the like alt country side. So then you really kind of mash some of that alt country vibe up with some old time acoustic music, and it's just fun. It's our own little thing. But at the heart of it, we're really a songwriting band. We love geeking out on old time fiddle tunes, as well as some old Bill Monroe, bluegrass. But then at the end of the day, it's acoustic music that we, quite frankly, do just as well, if not better, in a real sit-down environment or just around a campfire. Like that to us is it. So, one of the last ramblings on this
You're
tangent
good,
I'm
man.
going after.
Makes my job a lot easier.
No, but is that Tom Petty documentary. I don't know if you saw that. It was, the making of Wildflowers, right?
I saw it a few
But
years
that,
ago, I think, yeah.
but yeah, the producer, who was sort of the producer on that thing, he's actually not even a musician, or well, I forgot what it is. But he had a really, but it's really unique to have like a not an actually. Anyway, whatever. Yeah, this sort of outside perspective. But one of his lines, because I think he does a lot of cinematography, music. But one of his things, I forgot how he put it, but was essentially that, the music has to be first and foremost, for you. And it was this funny little, it sounds very sort of like whatever egotistical it's at the beginning, but basically it's like if you don't, and it's kind of like in the realm of cinematography, but a lot of music we play is a little more theatrical anyway. But it's like if you don't enjoy playing it, if you don't believe it, if you don't go out there and it doesn't give yourself goosebumps, then it can never give anyone else goosebumps. It can never really translate an emotion, a feeling, or anything. If you write a song for someone else, to impress someone else or to entertain someone else, out at the start, like it's already going to will have lost some of that spirit. And so for us, for me, the songwriting is just like, creating something that means something to myself, and if you can be as true as possible to that. And a lot of that is, Courtney Hartman coaching me through some of these, concepts and songwriting, all this stuff. But it's really, you do that at the core, and then sort of in a very sort of Eastern philosophical realm, you just do it for its own sake, and then the path flowers from there.
Okay.
But anyway,
No,
and next thing you know, you're here. You're in Mexico.
Yeah.
It's fucking wild. Anyway, sorry, I'm rambling, but
No, man.
I love
it's
this
perfect
stuff.
when you ramble,
Yeah.
'cause it makes my job so much easier. So you guys said that you consider yourself more of like a songwriter band. What kind of goes in the process for you guys as far as songwriting goes?
For sure. So I just, as a bit of a little backstory, so I wrote a bunch of music for the previous bands, but I'm really kind of had this shockingly decent 10-year period of not writing much. I was still addicted to music and really addicted to learning other sound, just like here's the next song. I was playing a ton, but sort of the songwriting, I was always like, I wonder if the songwriting sort of spigot will turn back on. And then, there's a few books that I sort of stumbled across that definitely helped in the process. But really one of the most fundamental things for me was, unfortunately, but in 2022, I got a pretty gnarly case of COVID. And I actually went through about 6 months of really intense long COVID, where I had about 3 big, sort of whatever fallouts where I at one point I couldn't walk to the mailbox, block away, and back without just being scorched and just it's really chronic fatigue, but chronic fatigue stuff mixed with fierce anxiety, insomnia, all sorts of stuff. And I've got 2 kiddos, young kiddos, my world just stopped. And,
you
own a
now?
little business. Oh yeah, thankfully,
Okay.
for sure. And it was, thanks to the community, some incredible, physical therapists, surprisingly, but, it's just a process. And, I played some adult league hockey, and it wasn't until a year later that I was playing hockey again, really exercising again. And I just want to say, anyone out there going through it, everyone has their own timeline, but it does, it's a process, man. And it is humbling as can be. You grow up and all of a sudden, I'm 39 now, and you're like, your body works until one day it just
Doesn't,
all of a sudden doesn't. And you're like, holy crap, plus just this anxiety. And the thick of it, I think I went one time 48 hours without sleeping. I mean, that was a experience,
Psychedelic experience,
it was the worst. I mean, there's a reason why they use sleep deprivation for torture. It was wild, but, coming out of that, I guess I could posture a couple of theories, but, why, but the songwriting, I mean, it was such an intense, heady experience that the songwriting spigot turned on. It turned on in a big way, and it was also, an eye opener. Life's short. What are we doing here if we don't, if we aren't believing in the magic? And I always kind of had this songwriting sense of like, just maybe it's just an insecurity of being like, oh, no one's gonna like it, or it's weird or whatever. But then again, you kind of go through something gnarly, and you're like, all right, this is short. Let's go. And the songwriting just came in hot. And luckily, I had a couple of Vaughn and Aaron, our mandolin and banjo player that I was playing with beforehand. And I was like, let's start playing it. Let's, just for its own sake. Because, maybe we'll record it, in our living room for fun. But just, again, for its own sake. And we put together a little concert, as it was coming out. But again, goals was a big thing, concept, and, recovery from all that. And we did in that sort of old-timey, folky Americana world right now is just, it's like sit down house concerts, like small venue, all that kind of stuff. A lot of stuff that we, realized we missed during COVID when we lost it.
Yeah.
And we put together this really cool little theater in town. It's called Perry Mansfield. A little sit down concert, and the whole community we're in just came out in mass, and we had just packed the house. It was incredible. It was just the three of us, and then another buddy's band was traveling through. Birds of Play. They're awesome out of Durango, and but so you're like, oh, huh, people want to hear this, and then Eric Baker, who's a band called Buffalo Commons around Steamboat in sort of Colorado. He's actually a mandolin player, but he came and he said, well, you got a mandolin player and I own an upright bass. Guess I'll learn it, he's a monster musician. So sure enough, he's like, and then Kay, then not long after that, it's sort of, again, you put out that into the universe, and Kay McKenzie, our fiddle player, who it's just in the last, 4 or 5 years has just, decided to get real good at the fiddle. And luckily in our tiny little town, we were able to gather these just monster musicians that are just the most kind-hearted people that are just game, to put this music together and to go. And so Eric Baker had a bunch of awesome connections with his previous band, big one being Scotty Stoughton, and, who I've just nothing but the kindest words for, is obviously the reason we're down here right now. But, we really started going, all right, let's go. And, let's put this music together. Let's put our heart into it and see what happens, not because we want to go do anything, but quite frankly, for us, it's just because we want to play this music on a beach somewhere cool, or quite frankly, in our backyard or on a campfire. And that fills the cup just as much. But anyway, I'm not sure what the original question was.
It's all right. So I want to go back to you guys playing Winter Wondergrass. And just so I understand, music is not what you do full time, right?
Correct. No. I've got my brother, Dad, and I own actually a little franchise out in San Diego.
Okay.
Called Sola Salon Studios. We build studios for hairdressers and beauty professionals, run the business out of. But it's it's small business, and it's a grind. But it allows me to make my own hours and do my thing, which has allowed me some real flexibility to now pursue this.
Yeah, hell yeah. So that leading to my question, not being a full-time musician, getting invited to play at Winter Wondergrass with I can't remember everyone off the top of my head, but
insane
Kitchen
names,
Dwellers, Sam Bush,
totally.
Getting to share a stage with those guys.
Dude.
How special is that for you?
My whole thing is if this isn't it, I don't know what it is. For us, it's quite frankly, the last year and a half has been my wildest dreams come true. To get to play with my absolute homies, best buds, and then get to go play, and then get to hang out with geeking out with I forgot his name, Mountain Grass. That guy was at Brian Sutton's Bluegrass Camp the year before me. Yeah, I was geeking out on him on YouTube before I went to this camp, and I wonder what it's gonna be like, And we were laughing backstage just how awesome it was. Anyway,
he's a cool dude, yeah.
Totally, and just to get to I almost to a fault at these things. I'm sort of back, behind the stage just chatting with everyone. It's not that I'm some groupie trying to whatever, but it's just such fascinating humans. And again, everyone's just so approachable. And Scotty, with the bonfire deal, it creates such an unarming, like just humble environment, right? This isn't like, oh, leftovers here. We're going to put them over in this little pedestal over here. Don't talk to them. No, like Vince Herman, I borrowed a set of strings from him. This last Wondergrass, because last minute I was like, holy crap, whatever, need something. And I went up and his tech chatted with him. He's like, yeah, grab my tech. He pulled out a set of strings out of the box and, like everyone, it's again, my cup, like, I mean, I don't want it to, but it could all end tomorrow. And I will have said, I accomplished the most amazing, I don't know. I was able to experience the most amazing thing that music could ever provide on the face of the earth. Like this is just, I'm incredibly grateful.
Yeah, and given like the health scare you had a couple years ago, and now you're doing this with your family, man, that's got to be awesome.
Yeah, we're down here, got the kiddos, we rambling around. I mean, because one of the lines we have is sort of with the band, a little tagline is meaningful music in meaningful places. And for us, if it's for a festival in Baja, or if it's just us hopping in the car and going camping in Moab or whatever. Yeah. Again, it's just for its own sake, just going to experience things and then get to paint, this little piece of magic on some new landscape. And again, that's it. And if you're reaching for something more than that, then I don't know. There's a great line, the Milk Carton Kids, the band Heaven, I laugh because a lot of times our kiddos, have this, it's like they could be at the greatest water park in the world or whatever, and they're like, this place sucks. Next, but it's funny but it's this, with the kids, you see these micro, patterns in yourself of being like, the line in this song Heaven is, they promised me heaven, I was hoping for so much more. And with this, I mean, like, if this ain't it, like, what is? Like, this is as good as it gets. It's a cheesy line, but like, again, very, very grateful. Yeah.
That's the thing that I'm realizing the older I get too, is like having such a good experience, and then like, I don't need to get greedy and try to make this experience better. Just enjoy what's in front of me. That's right. Why it's here.
Yeah, and like, Lord knows I like to get a buzz on here and there, but like when we're playing, I'm sober, and I like, not only is that because I want to be dialed as a musician, but also I want to be wide ass awake for the experience, and there's a time and place to get a buzz on, and I love it. But, and I also love opening for playing early at festivals, because then we get to be, have that experience, but then I get to go and hop in the crowd and ride the train with everyone else, it's fun.
Yeah, going off what I just said too, like, in that, getting that buzz on. I went to like a music festival this past weekend. Like the first night, we got our buzz on and like had a lot of fun. Totally. And then the same guy played on Saturday, and it was like, you know what? I'm gonna stay sober tonight and just enjoy this as what it is. I don't need to chase that dragon I had last night.
No, totally.
And it's sometimes hard to do that. It's sometimes hard to take that back seat.
No, for sure. No, and I'm not. Yeah, like by no means. Yeah, mad respect to those who are full sober. But but during that long COVID thing, I went 6 months without a drink. Without caffeine, without chia. I cut out. I was like, very much like, I'm going to figure out what, there's got to be some little lever to pull here to turn this whole thing off. Like, no, there's just time and, a whole lot of hard lessons. but it's all a phenomenal journey that, whatever, just got to be as witness to as possible.
Yeah. So I want to close up with, we know you're in Mexico, but we haven't really talked about, I don't know that much about Baja Grass. Yeah. So kind of tell me what's going on. Oh my God. Who's playing? What's it like for you guys?
This is insane. Yeah, no, just as a reminder, there's a little tiny boat down there.
Yeah, that's
this is Baja Grass. Harper, say hi.
First kid on the podcast.
That's right. It's a magic little. The word to Scotty, saw Scotty yesterday, and the word is it's a powerful place. It almost feels like the Mediterranean down here. There's this beautiful island across the way that's a national park. type deal. Like there's not a single development. I mean, it's just pristine, and it's you know, it's the end of the road.
Yeah.
Not end of the road, but it's up the road, right? Like it's not easy to get to. And, you know, like anything in life, like if it's not easy to get to, it's probably worth it. Yep. And, but it's this tiny little town. We went, you know, there's just Baja's just magic, and you can roll around. We rent a car, you know. It's not like you're feeling. It feels sketchy.
Is it like a car or like a buggy?
Oh, I wish it was buggy.
Okay.
It's a whatever.
That's what I think of when I think Baja. I think.
Oh no! I actually saw one yesterday. I was like, next time I'm going to cheer for. Yeah, no, but you know, like there's just. It's a big land down here, and there's not a lot of development, right? Like and this little town is all, you know, water's trucked in. You know, the water you're drinking, like it's desert living. There's you know, big saguaro cactuses everywhere. It's this town, this tiny town, that you can tell you come here and I imagine, you know, too, this is the type of people that Scotty attracts, but folks who are travelers, who are you know, who come to like respect a place. You know, this isn't, you know, I was talking to Scotty about, me and Baker having a meeting with him, I don't know, a month or so ago, and we were talking about Baja and, you know, some marketing ideas and this and that. And he was just, and I was like, do you desire to grow this thing at all? And he's like, no. He's like, you know, his other festivals obviously are different animals, but like, you know, this, he's like, you know, it's great. It's a good size. And you know, he's all about, you know, the communities where he decides to do these festivals, right? Because, you know, it can be a tax on the community. Yeah. It can be a real whatever. And if you don't do it right, you know, you're going to piss some people off. And down here, this festival is clearly about, you know, including the local businesses, the local, you know, the food, the artisans, the everything. And so when you're coming down here, you don't get this vibe that like, oh, a bunch of gringos are showing up and they're just going to party and disrespect the place. Like everyone here so far, and last time we did this welcome party, is just like humbled by this incredible little slice of heaven. And you can tell it's like, obviously, yeah, we're going to tell our friends about it, but like, you know, man, it's old school here. You feel like it's 30 years back, and it's, you know, it's the places that, you know, you feel like everyone's like, oh, it used to be like that. And you're like, well, it's here. It's amazing. Yeah.
And as far as the music goes, who's on the lineup for this fest?
Yeah, we've got, you know, Kitchen Dwellers, you know, the big name. They're awesome, you know. Just you know, hoping to get a little fireside pick with some of those guys, and they're monsters. Pixie and the Party Grass Boys. Pixie, Katya, is just the coolest human. I got to know her late night backstage of like the California Honey Drops. She was about to go sing.
Okay.
And she's just the coolest human. Like, God, what a voice out of her. Have you seen them?
I haven't, no.
They're just
I've
performers.
heard of the California Honey Drops, but I've never seen
it. So Pixie and Party Grass, boy, they're just entertainers and badasses, and then have no hesitation, like, voicing some awesome, you know, like, they're not afraid to say some political things on stage and just, you know, ruffle the feathers a little bit, very much, you know, throw their opinion out there. Which I respect. And then, you know, we got Emma Rose, who's sort of the musician at large. She's awesome. And we're going to do a couple sort of collaboration songs with her. Just incredible voice, incredible musician. Picking on the Dead, you know, like what could be better than being on a beach with Tyler Grant, and, you know, who's also, you know, again, in that bluegrass flat picking geek world, like, you know, an absolute legend of the most humble human you've ever met. And then, you know, some other, then Scotty's also brought in some other sort of local bands. He's actually bringing one band over, I think, from Mexico City. Again, just like cool stuff. And, you know, but then we're all playing, the main bands are all playing every day. And, you know, true to Bonfire fashion, 3 days. Okay. And so today we're playing a set at 4:30, or the opening slot. And it's going to be very like day one, and it's going to be sit down. Our first set is going to be an hour, and it's going to be very sit down, like real mellow. We're going to kind of ease into it. You know, by the last set, we'll be raging. But so we're also like, we
might have to do this again at the end of the festival, just like a quick 5-10 minute and clip these two together.
Yeah, I may not be quite as perky, but we'll see.
Cool, man. Well,
But anyway,
Jeremy-
yeah. So a bunch of good bands. Anyway, we're all fired up, as you can tell.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds like a lot of fun. I wish I could make it out there. I'm hoping to get out to
next time.
Wintergrass one of these
Come out to Wintergrass, man.
Yeah.
You got a room. We got a little guest room. Come
Okay.
on, come stay. It's
I'll
fun,
take you
man.
up on that.
You do one of those, and you're like you're hooked. Again, it's just they do such a good job. They include the community, and it's just everyone. You never. It's just something different, right? We've all been to plenty of summertime festivals, but to be in the winter, there's a little bit of this primal element of like we're surviving out here, and then like 2 years ago, Paul Calvin came out, and he literally raised the storm. He came out, it wasn't storming, and he just starts band starts, sort of the preamble to him walking on stage, and the storm rolled up. And they ended up actually having, he called too much of a storm because it was so much winding, blowing it sideways, winding, blizzarding, it was just chaos, but everyone was just in the crowd. It was this it was like Braveheart going on. There was
The only time in a crowd you want to be as close as you can to everybody.
Totally. And then, whiskey's your friend, but no, it's an experience. I can't recommend again any of the stuff. I mean, also to throw a quick plug, we're playing Camp Out for the Cause in outside of Salida in Colorado. We got a big crew coming out for that. That's a little less sort of bluegrass. That's got all sorts of anyway, sort of more of an eclectic mix of music, and it's small. It's gonna be 2,000 people, which is my sweet, for my opinion, sweet spot. Camping. Just again, bonfire. It's going to be done right. There's a lot of little festivals, whatever, but come check out Camp Out. You guys should roll out to Camp Out. It's going to be fun. Okay. And you fly into DIA and grab a car and get there in no time. Yeah.
I think Winter Wondergrass is definitely on our radar for next year. So we'll keep in touch and keep an eye on that.
For sure, man.
Cool, Jeremy.
Sweet.
Well, this has been a lot of fun, man. I look forward to seeing some videos and stuff like that on Instagram of the weekend.
Gotta do the shameless plug, but follow us on Instagram. Right now, we're working, gonna start sort of the project of our first album, so we're actually not even on Spotify yet, but we have a bunch of Instagram content, some YouTube content, so check us out, follow us along, but particularly for this weekend, we're gonna be, come live vicariously through us. I'm always posting stuff, and I geek out on all that stuff, so yeah.
Hell yeah, we gotta get you guys to Asheville at some point.
Love it, man. Would be honored. Do a little run out there for sure.
Cool, Jeremy. This has been a lot of fun, man.
All right,
Thanks.
man. Cheers. Thanks, buddy.
You just got jammed.
Welcome back to Chloe's Corner.
And guess what, everybody? We just got 3 nights Billy Strings at the Orion. We will see you there.
Get
And I'm
in!
celebrating by having a 11:17 a.m. vodka lemonade by Friend of the Devil.
Woo! And personal news.
Oh.
I did it.
New job!
I quit my job.
Baby's got a new job. He's going into hardscaping.
Yep.
He's a blue-collar man.
We're going to try. We're going to give it our
No
best.
more soft hands. You're about to be calloused.
Something like that.
Exciting news all around.
Yeah, exciting news all around.
Chloe's Corner to start the day.
3 nights of Orion. We're going to Widespread 2 nights this weekend.
Yes,
I
we
got a
will
new
be
job.
on lot.
Yep. Look for me Saturday on lot.
Well, us.
Us.
I'll be around there too.
She'll be around there. She'll be out there scouting people.
Grabbing you folks.
Do you think there'll be any new music by the Orion?
That'd be pretty sick if there was.
What are you looking
There's
for?
a big ass fly flying around me.
They are big
I
here.
can hear him. Oh, he's over there.
Um,
New music by the Orion. You would expect so, right? That's not until.
It's October. I mean, he just
October?
released a new album, but I feel like he's always releasing new music.
There will at least be 2 new singles. That's
Two new singles?
2 new singles.
Okay.
With
Okay.
an announcement on the way.
Fair enough. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about the interview we just finished with Jeremy from Little Moon Travelers. I liked that one. He was cool.
Yeah, that sounded like a really nice one. You could definitely tell you were sick in it. Poor guy.
Yeah, I was sick as hell. Yeah, I did that one like 3 weeks ago. But yeah, I feel like a lot of the musicians that we interview are like full-time musicians,
Mm-hmm.
and it's cool to just like a guy that's just about it for like just because he loves it.
Yeah.
Because he still said he like owns his own business, works full-time, and then on like That's got to be so sick going to Baja Grass and playing with like Torrent from the Kitchen Dwellers.
Yeah, this isn't even like your full-time gig. This is like your passion and your hobby. You're not even putting 1,000% of your effort in because you have other things, and you're still getting those tours and those festivals. That is sick for them.
We have
That
to
is
go to
super-
Winter Wondergrass
Oh, dude, I'm so down.
next year. I don't know if
Yeah.
it'd be next year, right?
Yeah.
'Cause it was in like February, I think.
Well, yeah, winter.
Well, winter's also in Colorado. It's like November and December. But yeah, we should plan on that one. Hopefully
Yeah.
it's not when Billy comes to Asheville again.
Oh, yeah, because Billy's always going to take precedence.
Yeah.
Sorry to everyone else that will be at Winter Wondergrass if Billy is in Asheville those days.
So we're going to do 3 nights of Billy, come home, then go to Halloween.
Yes.
That's gonna
Come
be-
home for what, 4 days? And then go to Halloween? Not even. You are right. We should just take that whole week off because we go on Tuesday.
Well, I don't think you can go that early this year.
Also, I wonder if we get...
But we could take that week off and just go... No, I don't know how... Yeah, we have to...
We'll figure it out.
That's an offline conversation.
Yeah. yeah. We'll figure it out and then we'll come back to you guys with the plan.
But we'll definitely be at Huntsville.
Also, the end of our year is going to be crazy. So we got 3 Billy, Halloween, and then we know we're going to do Billy New Year. And then if he comes back for February, we've got like...
And then Winter
3,
Wondergrass.
6, 9, that's 12 shows there.
Well, if he
12
does
Billy
6,
shows
I don't know
there.
if he'll do 6 again.
I think he should.
He should.
I'll send him an email.
All right.
Yeah.
Let me know how that goes.
I'll let Catherine know.
Yeah, she's the worst.
Do have a couple of topics. I don't know if I did this last week. I do owe the people of, I don't know what their terms are, their pet name. The people of the Insane Clown Posse
The
crowd.
Juggalos.
I owe the Juggalos an apology because your cousin Brandon pointed out something very true to me. He is not like, he's getting into the bluegrass and he's getting into the Billy and all of that stuff. He came with us to Mountain Grass Unit's after party after Billy.
Yeah.
And he was like, I looked around, I scanned the area. Everyone was dressed up as train conductors.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I made fun of the people of ICP for the Juggalos for wearing their makeup and drinking their drinks.
Fago and Clown Mask is to bluegrass as train conductor and ketamine.
Exactly, dude. And, truthfully, I apologize because we do it too, just on a different scale.
That's on us.
I haven't dressed up as a train man, but maybe one day I will. Who knows?
I haven't. I don't really do. I wear a tie-dye shirt.
You just dress how you dress on a Monday.
Yeah.
Go to things.
I have the same 5 shirts. That's all I wear.
Just rotate.
This one's got a rip in it because I wear it so much.
Ripping it. Yeah, so I apologize because you guys are just having fun. I'm having fun too. I'll get my train whistle out. You guys chug your drinks and
They like
get along with it.
apparently like after you leave one of those shows, your body's like stained from the Fago. Because they're just like taking the bottles and like shaking them up and like spraying it everywhere.
It's just like a mist. It's like how
I always thought when I was a
dusty.
kid that Fago was like
I thought it was spicy.
I thought it was like derogatory. Like it was like
I didn't think that at all.
when I was like 8. I was introduced to ICP by a very strange girl on my bus when I was like 8 or maybe 10. And she would just like put this headphone in. And it was a very dark song. And then she just would talk about Fago. And at that time, I just knew the other bad word
F-word,
that started with an
yeah.
F. So I just assumed in my mind, I was like, that must be...
It must just be.
Because my 8-year-old brain was like your brain now. That was just like, ICP must be crazy people.
Oh, yeah. I do stick by that they're crazy, but I'm more accepting of the crazy that you
Yeah.
are because of the crazy that we are. I'm
not crazy.
truthfully, well, I never got like introduced to ICP. I just always knew them as like the clown face guys, and I knew that their music was like kind of gruesome and weird. And
Some songs are kind of good. I
I'm
was listening
funny
to it.
about like gruesome things and messages in songs, and so I can't like I never.
They do have some like really dark and really like weird music, but I listened to them for like an hour or so the other day, and there's a few songs that came on that I was like, I found myself just like
Bopping along.
bopping my head, and I like looked into some of like the story about the main guy, and seems like he had a crazy background.
Yeah, you were telling me that.
Yeah.
And I can admire a nice come-up story. That's why I like Jelly Roll so much.
Mm-hmm.
And like his wife, I admire them because they have a very beautiful come-up story.
That's the thing you got to do, though, is you just got to be...
You got to hit rock bottom. You got to let people know.
Yeah.
You make something
And then no matter what, people are like, that guy's awesome. No matter what you did in the past, they're like, he rules.
Yeah, like he started here, look at him now. You can always admire that.
So I need to hit rock bottom. And then I can be like, guys, look at me now. I'm doing so much better. It's just like a get out of jail free card.
Yeah, when you improve things. I did see that they're starting to like pardon Jelly Roll for a lot of his crimes.
Shouts out Trump.
Is that Trump doing it, or is it just the goodness of the roll?
I don't know. Trump has been out here pardoning people. He like pardoned Kodak Black.
That's crazy.
And like, I want to say before Biden came president.
Does Shabuzi have any controversy? He seems like a very nice guy.
I don't know anything about Shabuzi.
Shabuzi roll call.
Yeah, I don't know about him.
Moving on from ICP, Turnstile is releasing a new album, but they're doing one of their songs with Hayley Williams, Miss Paramore.
They've been getting hate.
Turnstile?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
People said it's the same album as the last one. I think they get a lot of hate though too, because they were like originally a hardcore band, and I think they were in like
and they're
DC, Maryland,
like
punk-y, like
kind of like, I really don't know how to describe music. Their music is like watery now, like kind of flowy, kind of like ambient.
I still think they're good, but I just also think that like the hardcore people are also often just like, you have to stay true to who you are, straight edge.
Yeah.
And like you grow up and you like different
Live by
things.
the sword, die by the sword.
Yeah, I guess so. But what do I know?
But I really like Miss Paramore, Miss Hayley Williams. I think she's got a killer voice. So I'm excited for that because I think that could be a cool.
Has it not come? I thought it already came out.
So they said that it came out, but then I listened to the song and her voice wasn't on it. So I don't know. Stay tuned. The Turnstile people said themselves that she would be on the album. So I'm just going to wait for it. I'm going to wait for the release and see if she's on there. And if not, they lied.
That's still
And
one of
that's
my
on
favorite concerts I've been to.
Paramore?
No, Turnstile.
Didn't you get like bonked? No, Sam got bonked
Sam
in the
did,
head, huh?
yeah.
The boys can't mosh.
He had a big old shiner on his head and he's just sitting outside the pit with his hands on his hips. And I was like, what happened, dude? He's like, I got fucking hit, man. He's like, now I gotta go to work on Monday and they're gonna ask me what happened. And I'm almost 30 years old going in a mosh pit. And we had taken acid that day too. So he's like, I took acid and went in the mosh pit. I'm surprised something happened to me now.
Yeah,
He was
I'm
like,
surprised I got hit.
he was so upset, dude. It was so funny. And I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go back in.
Did you get bonked? Did you bonk anyone?
I don't really remember. It's kind of just like a blur when you're in there. You're just flailing. And I mean, I don't know
I bet
what we
you
were
kind
thinking.
of just black out.
Yeah, it's kind of how it was, I feel like.
I can't imagine being in a mosh pit on acid, dude.
I went to Warped Tour when I was like 13 or 14, and I just got the shit beat out of me in the mosh pits there. I was like, because
Who'd you go with?
Brandon,
Nice.
my
yeah.
grandpa took me.
Oh, you said about that. Yeah.
I think one year I might have gone with Barry.
Nice. Do you remember who played when you went with Brandon and your grandpa?
I remember of Mice of Men, I just kept getting tripped in that. There was like a circle pit, so everyone's just running like around,
Yeah.
pushing each other. And those are the ones I liked the most because I was like young.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to be like in with like people punching. So the circle pit was fun. And then like people would just trip or they would just run into the circle pit and like kick you while you're running. One time though, this dude like punched me. He was like a grown up and I was like 14 or 15.
Yeah.
And half the crowd is like very like taking care of people. Half the crowd's like destroy everything. And this like older dude like hit me on the head. And I was like clearly like upset about it. And this other dude just went up to him and like fucked him up real quick. And then he helped me up and I was like, yeah.
Dude, there are like, I've watched videos of mosh pits, haven't been a witness to one, but there are two different types of people in the mosh
Yeah.
pit. But I guess you could say that for literally any crowd. Like even Tipper.
Any
There are
big
two
crowd is
different
always
crowds.
going to bring a few bad apples.
Yeah,
like,
and
no
there's
matter what
like,
it
there's
is.
the ones that are like, they're respectful about it. Moshing is a weird activity because you are going in there with like the intention of like, I might get fucked up. And there are people that are respectful about it and like understand, and then there are those ones that are like getting into people on purpose, just like following one person and wailing on them.
I think a lot of shows will just beat that guy up.
Yeah.
Like now that's more the thing. Where
That's what I saw. There was like the circle pit, and then there were a couple in there getting like crazy, and there was an older guy, and he was just backing up against some girl and elbowing her in the head. And then all of a sudden I saw like 4 people swarm in, and like that guy disappeared. He just like got surrounded. He was just like going after this chick. I'm like, you're just,
and
that's just abusing someone at that point. You're just like using it as an excuse to hit someone.
And that's ICP and moshing on the Jam Band podcast.
Yeah. That's us who come from fucking bluegrass music and holding hands, and we're like, this is crazy.
Apparently, King Giz, they have mosh pits.
Really?
They have like big walls of death.
I know I said it when we talked about the Dogs in a Pile show, but they had that one song where they went pretty metal at Janice, and that was pretty sick.
I really want to go to King
headbang.
Giz.
I know. What?
Bonnaroo that Friday.
Where else do they play, dude? There's got to be
fucking like Europe. They're always in Europe, I feel like.
Yeah, those Australian bands, they don't like to come this way very often.
I think they have like a residency at Bonnaroo from here on out too.
So we can plan for that next
But
year,
this
if that's
one,
the case.
this Friday is the one I should go. And the Thursday and Friday, but whatever.
I do want to give a really big shout out. At the time you're listening to this, this is the 15th. So tomorrow, 16th, Freedom Junction, Sugar Legs, other band, has their first album release. They are releasing their first studio album tomorrow, May 16th. Please go listen, because goddamn is he just the funkiest guy on earth.
The bass player released an album like last week too.
Mustang?
Mm-hmm.
His own? Mm-hmm. That's sick. I gotta listen to that.
Apparently, I haven't listened to... Apparently!
You have
I haven't listened to a lot of it yet, but I guess he does a lot of the writing for Mr. Donato too.
Yeah.
Yeah, people were saying on Reddit like how good of a songwriter he was.
This dog chose to sit right next to me and just lick his paw.
He's so annoying.
But yeah, I haven't listened to any of. I didn't know that was a thing. You gotta tell me about these things. I'm not as plugged in as you are.
I've been listening to like John Hartford all week.
You have been. That one song we listened to yesterday where he was just singing the chords that he was playing.
Yeah.
He's so good for you.
Then I go to A, then I go to D, then I go back
G.
C.
And then I stay on G. A couple more on G.
He's got like an interesting, just interesting songwriting.
Yeah. Would you say it's more storytelling or more just like...
Some are storytelling, some I just don't even know what he's saying.
Just rambles?
Yeah, but I have been liking him. I've been liking listening to, because all I listened to was that All Fall Down song, and then
yeah, and boy do you listen to that one.
yeah. Alrighty. Find us on Saturday on lot for interviews. Next week we have Jackson from Sons of Stars, stand-up bass player. He's also in a couple other bands too, Clouds of Delusion and Yesterday's Closed. And I think Alex Bazemore might be joining on that one too. So keep your eyes peeled for that one. And then hopefully I'll have the Widespread Panic lot podcast edited too next week. So it should be a pretty good week next week.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this last night. Maybe on Mondays, my segment could be like questions from people who listen to the podcast, or like suggestions, and we take them. I don't know. I was just thinking that the other
just
day.
something a bit more interactive. We're always trying to get the people involved. So
Yeah,
if
you guys have better ideas.
Yeah, if you guys have recommendations, things you want to hear from us.
Yeah.
What kind of questions?
I don't know. Just like, or they could be like, "Hey, try listening. Check this band out," and then we listen to that band and review it in Chloe's Corner or stuff like that.
Yeah.
That might be a good way to go about it.
Yeah, guys, get involved. Send us suggestions.
Hey, I went to
Send us
this
things.
show. It's on Nugs. Check it out. This song.
Yeah.
Just a good way to find music for me and for everybody who listens. I think that could work.
Yeah.
Or if they just want to know, like, what got you into whatever or something like that, you know. We can just for us talk about Chloe's Corner.
Nice. I like that idea.
Okay.
Yeah, we can start making posts about kind of suggestions.
Yeah, maybe I'll put something up on like Fridays, and then people can compile questions, and Monday we'll address them.
Nice. I like that. Alrighty, my love. Those are all my topics.
Alrighty, guys. Well, come find us at Widespread this weekend. I got stickers. I'll be giving out stickers.
I have trinkets.
So
Little
come,
animals.
get stickers, get trinkets. We'll give you kisses on the cheek.
That too.
Have a great weekend, guys, and remember, wherever you are right now is exactly where you're supposed to be.
Come along, have a drink with me. We can talk about the world and how the world it turns so slow. Day and night I found cars they drive and planes they fly. I look into the sun and the sky, you're so bright. It's you that I have found. Oh, and I know there's not much longer now. Or if the world would just slow down. Stars, they sail across the sky, and I could watch you dance all through the night. When the rhythm is right, oh, and I know the sun is rising now. Or if the world would just slow down. With me and I'll move with you, and I could spend the rest of my life by your side. It's you that I have found. Oh, and I know it's not much longer now. Or if the world would just slow